Happy Friday to you. This is Pastor Willie Morris. I'm the senior pastor at Fellowship Victory Ministries. This is gonna be a really tough conversation to have because I'm gonna be really addressing some core issues that I see among my white brothers and sisters. And I know for a very long time we've lived in this space where if nothing happens to us, then it doesn't exist. I got a bridge to tell you. And this is pertaining to the recent murder of George Floyd. And the response to his death sparked this outrage among the oppressed. And right now, I just want to take the time out of this glorious Friday day to really talk to my white brothers and sisters in Christ. And I see you guys all over my news feed on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You guys are standing in solidarity with the black community, even though you may not understand the fear of what that looks like every day for us. And I honestly have a question. And this is a question that I asked a good friend of mine last night as we do our small group on a monthly basis. Now we do them every other week. I asked him, are you willing to die for the cause? Are you willing to be on the front lines? Are you willing to be in the mindset of the fear of what most black Americans go through every single day of the week? Are you willing to really put your all into this? And his response was, well, not out on the front lines, but there are other ways that I can support the cause. And I said, if a mild-mannered black man supports the cause in another way and doesn't want to get on the front lines, he can still get shot. You, on the other hand, are less likely to get shot because you're seen as less threatening, as less menacing, as you're seen as the poster boy of what a good community citizen is supposed to look like. Black people, we're seen as a threat. So even though we can support the cause behind the scenes, black people, we can still die. But you cannot. And the first thing I want to say to all my white brothers and sisters, check your privilege. And use it for the greater good. Use it to make the police see that what you're doing is wrong. But don't do this whenever there's a protest, whenever there's a widespread protest. Do this every single day of the week. And right now, if you're in the older generation and you're white, I want you to turn off Fox News. I want you to turn off liberal media. I want you to turn off conservative media. And in this moment, I want you to just think of the fear that most black people go through, having been afraid of the system that you have been benefiting from the last 250 years since slavery. I don't want you to talk about Barack Obama. I don't want you to talk about how well Donald Trump. This is not about your political party affiliation or party politics. This is life or death for the oppressed. And I don't want you to holler about your persecution complex. In this moment, I want you to just listen. I don't want you to holler about sin. I don't want you to holler about what God is doing and God is bringing us together. I don't want you to say none of that. If we're going to facilitate this kind of conversation, then you, white people, have got to listen to us. Forget your party affiliation. Forget your Democrat versus Republican, your conservative versus liberal. That's not what this conversation is about. And to drive it down that road means you understand less about the issue that we're having here. And I know for some of you, you've lived your entire life in this bubble where you see what's happening and you ignore it because it doesn't happen to you. And so you say things like, well, I have a whole bunch of black friends that love white people and white people love black people, and I know people who love cops. They're great. Here is the problem. That doesn't help when we keep seeing the same exact thing happening to us over and over and over and over. And I know that for some of you, you may love black people. You may care about our wants and needs. But what are you doing to advocate on behalf of us? What are you doing to actually make the change necessary? What are you doing to actually make the initiative? In what ways are you supporting us? Because after this protesting and everything is over, you're going to go right back to what you were doing beforehand. So we need you to come with us. And the church, my God, the church. I am more angry at the church because they have facilitated this for a very long time. They sit in the pew talking about how God is this and God is that. But they don't ever actually address the underlying issue of racism. They claim, oh, we're for the Lord, oh, we're here to make disciples, oh, we're here. They have all these feel-good mission statements, but what are they doing? What actions have they taken to make sure that the body is inclusive of the community through which they are serving? Sure, we may hire a couple of black pastors that's a part of our ministry, but what are we doing? What change is there are we making to ensure that we have this conversation continues to keep going? What solution are we going to be able to implement as we move forward so that this conversation is not lost on us every single time there's a protest nationwide and the oppressed continue to get oppressed? This doesn't necessarily just need to be a conversation or a dialogue that's uncomfortable. We need solution. And while the church may not be the best place to provide it, the church is the home of many Protestant, white, evangelical Christians. And not one of them is able to make amends and we're not, and here's the thing. I'm not blaming the white people whose forefathers may have oppressed us. I'm not blaming that white people for the generation of their forefathers' sin. But we have got to come to a place where we can agree that part of the problem is that white people for far too long have ignored us. God is good, God is great, and all of that's fine and dandy, but what is the conversation that we need to have in order to ensure that we don't keep seeing this? First of all, it starts with white people shutting up and listening. It starts with a hands-off approach. Listen to us. Listen to our needs. Listen to what we're trying to tell you. And listen to our solution. I don't care if you're Democrat or you're Republican. I don't care if you're conservative or liberal. Listen to the needs of the black community when we tell you we have been oppressed for far too long. And this needs to stop. Having a conversation, that's fine and dandy. My home church this Sunday will be having a conversation about what's going on in this country due to the recent struggles and due to the recent racial tension. But here's the problem. How many of these conversations are we going to have before we actually get to the solution? The second thing that most white majority churches have to learn to do is to put in place programs within their own church walls that would greatly benefit African American initiatives. My ministry has that. We have an African American initiative program where we're inviting black people and brown people to come into the conversation. But when you have a church that's over 11,000 members and have 5 different locations, that can be hard. I just want the white majority population, especially of me in my home church, to realize they know that we need to you need to be consistent in your metric. Don't just have this conversation and then next week we go away and then a month later or a week later we still have the same problem that we have with George Floyd. Like, we need to have solution to the problem. And as I said earlier, and as I asked earlier, how many conversations are we going to have? And I'm specifically addressing this particular question to the white majority evangelical churches, whether you're non-denominational or not. How many conversations are we going to have before we actually get to the solution? Unless you don't want to get to the solution. In which case, there should be no reason why we black people should keep attending your church. Because you're not raising awareness of what's going on. You keep saying prayer and sin and God is love and God is this and what happened to George Floyd is horrible, but God this, God that. That's not enough. That is not enough. We don't need prayer. We need this abusive system to stop. And we need you to listen. So I will ask again, how many conversations are we going to have before we get to the solution? Comment down below. Let me know what kind of solution that we need to have so that these oppressive killing of black people can stop. If you let me know the answer down below, I would be greatly appreciated. This is Pastor William Morris, Senior Pastor at Fellowship Victory Ministries, signing off. Bye-bye.